Purdue football fans, what's going on? It's the Big Time Boiler. Hey, Purdue got a new football coach. It's been a few weeks or maybe even a month since I recorded my last video. I can't remember what game that was, but I was pretty upset. I posted a kind of, hey, Purdue football is off the tracks, and where are we going from here? I kind of suspected that Ryan Walters would get fired. Spoiler alert, that's what happened. Ryan Walters is no more, and Barry Odom is in the door. Barry Odom is Purdue football's, I think, 38th new coach. Exciting to see. I think Barry Odom was definitely in my top 5 of coaches that I wanted. It was kind of an interesting coaching cycle. 4 openings came open. North Carolina came first, then Purdue, UCF with Gus Malzahn going to Florida State as an offensive coordinator, and then West Virginia fired Neil Brown. Out of those 4 openings, North Carolina ends up hiring Bill Belichick, which is interesting. UCF got Scott Frost, who returns, and also Rich Rodriguez returns to West Virginia. I think Purdue may have got the best coach. Now, Bill Belichick is obviously the biggest name. I don't know how that's going to work out. That seems like kind of a disaster written all over it. It should be interesting. But as far as an actual college coach goes, I would rather have Barry Odom than both Rich Rugg and Scott Frost. And Barry Odom's proven he can be a program builder. Now, Barry Odom might have a bit of a sour taste in some Purdue fans' mouth. You know, his record at Missouri was 25-25. Now, but you really look into it, and also Purdue fans have 2 games that they remember Barry Odom from. 2017, Jeff Brom brought his brand new Purdue football team down there and won to the tune of like 35-3 at Missouri. However, Barry Odom got revenge the next year and won something around 35-38, something like that. 3-point game. They won on a game winning. I think it was 38-35. Very entertaining game in Ross-Ade. So Barry Odom is 1-1 against Purdue. But anyway, Barry Odom got the Missouri job. I think he was around 38 years old. He was their DC. Gary Pinkel retired. There was some weird. I was actually in St. Louis during this time, but there was some weird stuff going on in the university and football team, and I can't remember exactly what it was about, but I think it was pretty stupid. Protests from students and football players, it was a mess. Anyway, he takes over in 2016. They go 4-8. It was like the 55th ranked schedule, 56th ranked schedule the following year. They go 7-6. Then he goes 8-5 with the 11th ranked schedule. And then he goes 6-6 and gets fired in 2019, which I remember at the time I thought it was interesting they fired him. He actually started out 5-1 in 2016 and then lost 5 games in a row. So to end up 6-6. I can't remember if they won their bowl game or not that year. But anyway, wasn't good enough for Missouri. He gets fired, goes to Arkansas to be DC. And then the last 2 years, he got hired to be the head coach at UNLV, which he wins 9 games his first season, which is a heck of a feat. And then he wins 10 games his second season, which, again, UNLV has no football history whatsoever. Barry Odom's proven he can be a program builder. Now, when this whole coaching search started, I was like, I kind of want Jamie Chadwell. I think it was my number 1. Number 2 was like Barry Odom. 3 was like Silverfield from Memphis. Cheney over at James Madison. I thought it'd be kind of funny if we hired him. 2 James Madison coaches going at it, and it's him and Signetti. And then John Summerall from Tulane. And then Jeff Muckin from Army. Out of those candidates, though, when you really look at it, Barry Odom is the best of the bunch. Barry Odom has the experience. Now, he's a defensive-minded head coach, but even what he said during the press conference, he even said that, during the press conference. But he said, I'm known as a defensive-minded head coach, but I'm all about the high-powered offense. If you look at it, it's true. He's always had a kind of a unique offense. He had Josh Heupel under him in Missouri. They scored a ton of points. Heupel gets hired to be the UCF head coach. And then he's had Brendan Marion the last couple of years at at UNLV with the go-go offense. So he's kind of, I kind of first wanted John Summerall. John Summerall was only coached for 3 seasons, 1 at Tulane, 2 at Troy. Who knows what's going to happen there? Barry Odom is the more experienced. You know what you're going to get. Even at the worst, he's a 500 SEC coach. We'll take that any day of the week right now after what we just went through at Purdue. So I like the hire. I think it's a B+ hire. Now, I made an earlier video that went pretty long, 30 minutes. So you know what? I'm going to condense this down a little bit because I think we're going to do a longer video, maybe even live within the next week or so. But here's where things stand. I wanted to, it's now Friday. Purdue hired, I think officially hired him. Was it Sunday? It was kind of announced Sunday, but the press conference was Tuesday. So it's been a few days since the press conference. Anyway, there's not been a lot of action as far as official announcements are concerned, besides a few recruits, including Barry Odom's own son, that have switched. They signed their letters of intent with UNLV, but because of the coaching change, they've been released and they switched to Purdue. I think there's 4 or 5 that have done that now, including a couple today. But as far as like offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and coaches, none of that is anywhere official. It sounds like he is going to take quite a few guys quite a few of the coaching staff from UNLV. Sounds like the DC, special teams coordinator, running back, and a few others are going to come. Not the OC, though. It doesn't sound like Brendan Marion's going to come, which, depending who you ask, is a bad or a good thing. But anyway, nothing's really been. And then, Coach Kiro Small, the strength coach for Purdue, who I think is a pretty good strength coach and is considered a very good strength coach. One of the better Ryan Walters hires, probably the best hire, actually, when it comes down to it. He is being retained, which is a good thing. He's going to be back on staff, which I think is actually also good, too, because they say the strength coach is like the most important, like second or third most important position of the entire program. And that's going to help, I think, with the kind of carryover to Barry Odom. So it's nice to have that in there because there are a lot of portal, entries right now, which we'll talk about. But anyway, there's really nothing been official. Even that Kiro Small thing's not official. That's just been, discussed on Insider, on 3 and stuff like that. Nothing's actually been official besides Barry Odom being the head coach and a few recruits coming over. It sounds like he's going to bring 10 plus players from UNLV. That was a heavily senior laden team in the 2 deeps. There's a few guys, I think, that have 6 years and some seniors and juniors. He'll probably bring about 10 solid players with him, which is good. We need it because Purdue right now has a ton of players in the transfer portal. A few guys have actually come back, but there's a ton of good ones in the transfer portal, including Dylan Thieneman, Max Clare, Helt, the defensive end, is in the portal as well. Keelan Crimmins is in the portal. Jamal Edrin just entered today, and some other Yanni Karlofis is another one. I'm not going to go over every single one, but there's quite a few. Cole Brevard is another big one too. Some guys that have returned, long snapper Nick Levy, which is important. Good to have him back. Who else returned here? Sterling Smith, backup safety, has returned. And actually, Ahmad Branch announced today he's returning, the 4-star wide receiver that had a touchdown this year. I think he's got a lot of potential. He's returning as well. Now, you're not going to be able to return everybody, unfortunately. I wish that was possible. In my eyes, excuse me when I take a sip here, I think the most important additions to bring back would be Max Clare and Dylan Thieneman. You need to get those 2 guys back. Will help, in my estimation, is probably gone. Stinks, but it is what it is. It'd be nice to get Cole Brevard back, and even like Jamal Edrin and Keelan Crimmins, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Purdue's probably going to lose quite a few players. They've already actually, and they have lost 2 players officially. Muhammad Musa, the interior offensive lineman, has gone to Louisville. He's returned to Jeff Braun. He was a multi-year starter. Not the biggest loss, but it would be nice to have him back. He's gone to Louisville. Drew Bieber, the backup tight end, has gone to Minnesota. Pretty good piece. So we've already lost a few players. Really going to hurt, though, if you lose somebody like Dylan Thieneman and Max Clare, especially Thieneman, who's got a history here. They got some big programs they're visiting, too, including like Texas, Oregon, Ohio State. So, but, Mike Babinski did say that Purdue was all in on revenue sharing. They're 100%, $22 million. They're all in on revenue sharing. I think that Purdue is going to be able to retain some of these players, and also they have a greater NIL war chest. So that's good news. I think Purdue is going to be okay in the future. Now, I know everybody in this day and age wants instant news, and I think even some people are getting a little antsy. Hey, it's Friday. Coach has been hired for 4 days. Not a lot of announcements. What's going on? Well, UNLV has a bowl game Wednesday. So I think this coming Wednesday. So that's going to be 5-ish days. Once Wednesday is over with, and I think they play Cal in some sort of Gronk Bowl out in California. Once they play Cal, things are going to pick up a little bit. I think that Thursday you're going to hear some announcements of coaches, probably 4 or 5, that are officially going to be signed by Purdue. I think those deals are probably already done. They're just waiting for the Rebels bowl game to be done. Then I think you're going to see some more players from UNLV hit the portal. And then it sounds like the big visit weekend is going to be next weekend. So I think, theoretically, you get those coaches coming Thursday or Friday morning, get them all signed up, and the players start arriving, not just UNLV players, but other targets start arriving Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I think really this weekend might be kind of slow. Who knows? But I think you're going to see a lot of activity over the next few weekends in between Christmas and New Year's and kind of after that. I think Purdue probably enrolls or starts classes mid-January. So you got like three weekends, something like that, 4 weekends, including this one coming up. So hang tight, Boilermaker fans. There's going to be a lot of information coming out, probably at a rapid fire pace. Hopefully these players kind of our players, at least at Purdue right now, kind of give the coaches a chance and, start re-upping. But right now, there's no official DC. It sounds like, though, we're going to have the DC from UNLV, who's worked with Barry Odom in the past at Arkansas. Sounds like he's coming over. Offensive coordinator, though, I've heard the SMU offensive coordinator, Tennessee's offensive coordinator. Now you say that's kind of crazy. Why would those guys come? Well, they're not the main play callers at their universities. They have some ability and some involvement of calling plays, but right now they are not actually calling plays. So Purdue would like double their salary, and they would actually be the architects of the offense. So I think that's why they would actually come here. Other than that, like I said, not a ton happening besides recruits, flipping from UNLV to Purdue, mainly three-star recruits, not, overly huge deals, but, it's good to get these guys on board with Purdue. So we'll do another video maybe in a week, maybe even do a live one. I think this is a very good hire for Purdue, and the fact that Barry Odom is a program builder. If you asked, and he's a bald white guy, right? We've had good success. Jeff Brom, Joe Tiller. He kind of looks like a mixture of both. If you did, AI is the big rage these days. If you went to an AI program and like put in all the intangibles of a Purdue head coach and just wanted like an image, not just what he looked like, but his character and all that stuff, you probably would get a Barry Odom. I mean, he seems like he's tailor-made for Purdue. I think it's a really good hire. It's not the sexiest hire, but if you get a couple, people have graded it in the media, have graded this, an excellent hire for Purdue. Don't know if it's going to work out, but I think it's overall considered a good hire for Purdue. It's kind of funny, West Virginia fans and stuff, he was linked to the UCF job and West Virginia job. I think UCF wanted him, but West Virginia, for whatever reason, thought they were too good for Barry Odom. I don't quite understand that, but whatever. We're happy to have him at Purdue. I think so. The main things now that Barry needs to do is get a whole. And also, I don't think I mentioned this. It is kind of weird that Ryan Walters, who I know Purdue wants to get away from completely, used to be the DC for Barry Odom at Missouri, and a lot of the same contacts from Ryan Walters. Or a lot of Ryan Walters' coaching tree comes from the Barry Odom coaching tree. So there might be a few staff members that actually stay on board. Probably not many, a couple. And they might not even be, on-field coaches. They could be an analysis for a couple of years. But that part's kind of weird, but, we're going to look past that. I'm a lot more excited about Barry Odom than I was Ryan Walters. Now, Ryan Walters, I think he came out of nowhere, first of all. I knew he was a potential coach, but I was thinking, for a lower level program. Purdue hiring him, looking back on it, was pretty shocking. It was definitely a high risk, high reward type hire. Ended up turning out to be just high risk, very low reward. I convinced myself into it thinking, okay, yeah, hey, Ryan Walters can recruit and he can bring an awesome defense with them and he can go hire a young OC. And then, he goes out and recruits Hudson Card, which was a huge deal at the time. I'm like, oh man, this guy can recruit. We're all fired up. And he actually did recruit pretty well. Ryan Walters did. So we're all fired up for that. Year one was okay, 4-8, and ended good. Okay, hey, we got some momentum, got a good portal class. I was thinking, bowl game, 6 wins, 7 wins, very hard schedule. We go 1-11, man. Just horrible. It was a bad coaching job. And then you look at the transfer portal, and I'm not going to harp on this too long, But you look at the transfer portal right now. Guess who the number one tight end in the transfer class is? Portal class, like the portal itself. Max Clare, number one safety. Dylan Thieneman. Like we had some good players on this team. And then like one of the most coveted defensive ends, Will Helt. We had some good players. And just the coaching was coaching was bad. The staff was bad. Ryan Walters maybe eventually would have worked it out, but his staff and it was just it was the well was poisoned, the water was poisoned. It was just toxic. He had to go, unfortunately. So wish him nothing but the best. I think Ryan Walters might actually end up being a good head coach. Be curious, though, where he goes. He might go the Barry Odom route, where becomes a DC at an Arkansas level Illinois type program, and then, gets hired in 3 years at a UNLV type Mountain West type program and does well, and then, gets another shot. So best of luck to Ryan Walters. We're at about 16 minutes here. Again, this is a lot shorter than the last video, but I think I rambled on a little too much. Closing thoughts is Barry Odom, I think, is going to be a very good coach for Purdue. Is it going to bring immediate results? I think it could very well be similar to Jeff Brom. Let's say Jeff Brom did not light the world on fire. He just took over a dumpster fire, went to a bowl game the first 2 seasons at like 7 and 6, or ended up 7-5 and then 6-7. I think Barry Odom could do that. And very well could be on the same trajectory where, and then the key is, though, for Barry Odom is like, all right, get us to a bowl game next year or 5 wins as close as, or at least show progress, a 4-win type season with progress. And then after that, you got to get us to bowl games and you got to build this thing up and you got to be consistent 7-8 win team, a Minnesota type, a Minnesota level program, Minnesota, Illinois, Purdue. We need to be in that level. We cannot afford to have another year like we did this year. So, I think with that, I'm going to sign off. Boiler up. Again, we're going to give you get some updates on this channel here in the next few weeks. It's going to be pretty exciting, Boiler fans. Lock in, not just this channel. Hit me up on Twitter. That's kind of where I spend most of my time these days, the Big Time Boiler. On 3, Purdue on 3, Big Time at 6'9". I'm there all the time. That's where I get all my information, most of my information. But, yeah. Comment, like the video. Let me know below what you think of the Barry Odom hire. Boiler up, fans, and God bless.